The lovely lakes, the beautiful woods, and great fishing make Brainerd, Minnesota a wonderful place to vacation. Around here in the summertime, thoughts of another Northland winter are but a distant memory. But the harsh reality for those chasing Winston Championship points is that Brainerd marks a turning point on the calendar. Here in the land of Paul Bunyan is where we enter the final third of the NHRA season. And if you're going to mount a late season charge, now's the time. This is NHRA Winston Championship Drag Racing on the Autolite Sportsman Challenge. Today, it's the 1995 Champion Auto Stores Nationals from Brainerd International Raceway in Brainerd, Minnesota. There are a lot of important rounds and a lot of important races in the world of a top alcohol dragster or top alcohol funny car driver. For Jay Payne, there will be none more important than this race. Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Fry. In top alcohol dragster and top alcohol funny car competition, racers are allowed to compete at 10 events. They then claim their best 5 finishes. Well, for Jay Payne, he's got 4 national event wins, and this will be his 10th national event. It's very important that Jay Payne put one in the win column if he wants to make a run at the Winston Championship. His toughest competitor this year and this event will be the reigning NHRA Winston champ, Tom Conway. Now, these two are very good friends, and for both, if they've got to meet up, they would like it to come somewhere in the final round. This is a very important race for Conway, but it's extremely critical for Jay Payne. One of the big runners in the battle for the Winston Championship and top alcohol funny cars here, that's Joe Penland, while Frank Manzo and Bob Newberry are out racing in a divisional race in the East Coast. But it's a great battle shaping up in the Pro Stock motorcycle class, and for more on that, let's join Alan Reinhart.
Bob, points are a prime consideration in the Pro Stock bike ranks as well, as we are getting now into the second half of their season. Dave Schultz is leading the points as he has in years past, but it's nowhere near as close as it used to be. John Myers is just a couple of rounds out of first place, and there's some other players. Michael Phillips, who drives the Bell Additive Suzuki, is in third place right now, and he's got a monster second round matchup with John Myers coming up. If Michael can win that, then he can really close some ground on the front runners, and as you can see, Michael and Harry Lartigue, the bike owner, are leaving no detail to chance for that second round race.
Here are the top 5 qualifiers in the top alcohol dragster category. Jay Payne right where he wants to be at the top of the pack. I should mention there were only 14 cars that qualified for the field. That would necessitate a bye run. In the opening round, Jay Payne was slated to meet Frank Iattarelli. Frank was a no-show, so Jay strolled into the second stanza. Now watch this. Keith Stark on the far lane, David Wells in the near lane in opening round play. Stark's got that injected car. David Wells, the Blue Bunny ice cream machine. A lot of smoke, a lot of flame, very unusual for an alcohol car. Keith Stark, meanwhile, gets the win with a 595. He would meet Randy Smith, who took out Pedregon in the opening round.
This is the way they stacked up on the other side of the ladder. Notice Tom Conway in the number 7 qualifying spot. Very unusual, and as Bob mentioned, an important race for him. Hamlin and Doucette, the first pair at the top. This was back in round number 1. Doucette on the far side of the racetrack, another one of those injected nitro cars that struggled all the way through qualifying, and his struggles would continue here. But watch Hamlin near lane, the number 2 qualifier, his best ever national event qualifying effort. And just like in the last matchup, a little smoke, a little fire. Hamlin got the round win, but only 203 miles an hour. And he'll face up with Tom Conway. They're going to need to have the car ready for that. Sean Hyland and Bill Reichert also advanced into round 2.
The Autolite Sportsman Challenge is brought to you by Allied Signals Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. When we come back, round 2 of Top Alcohol Dragster.
Everyone knows Red Wing makes legendary work shoes. Now they make them for women, too. Red Wing asked us what we want, and we told them comfort and style. Red Wing delivers with many styles and colors. Lots of sizes, too, so you get a perfect fit. Now you have a choice. Many choices. Red Wing Shoes. Best friends your feet ever had. Call 1-800-359-BOOT for the dealer nearest you.
Smaller electrodes, more power. More electrodes, faster start.
Suddenly, everybody has a new spark plug idea promising instant higher performance. But one new plug's idea is higher performance that lasts. Introducing Autolite Double Platinum. Platinum on both sides of the gap for faster starts and more power every time. Platinum to platinum firing for guaranteed peak performance, long after other ideas have peaked out. Autolite Platinum and now Autolite Double Platinum. More precious metal for your precious metal.
Live, NASCAR, Winston Cup Racing on TNN, the Nashville Network. High stakes, ultra high speeds, and the men who lay it all on the line. The extreme heat of a battle, where a mistake can cost you more than just the race. Yeah, nothing can rock 'em and roll 'em like live Winston Cup Racing on TNN Motorsports. It doesn't get any closer. Watch the MVNA 500 Sunday, September 17th, 12 noon Eastern.
When cars raced at an awesome 5 miles per hour, Mobil Oil was there. When a race car broke 100, Mobil was in it. Mobil was in the winner of the first race across America. And just last year, Mobil 1 had the most first, second, and third place wins on the Indy circuit. We've been helping engines last for a long time. Mobil, changing oil for over 125 years.
Welcome back to BIR, Brainerd International Raceway. Bob Fry and Alan Reinhardt as we get set for round number 2. This is the Bars Leaks machine. Bill Reichert, we saw him earlier in the year on the Autolite Sportsman Challenge, Alan, when it looked like he had the upper hand out there in Columbus, Ohio, but still he has never won a national event.
Here's a guy that not only has won a national event, but this national event 1 year ago was the first time that Sean Hyland parked that High Royal car in victory lane. Sean comes out of the number 3 qualifying spot. Bill Reichert, number 6.
Reichert's been flashing some very impressive numbers over the last couple of weeks on the regional and national scene. See what he can do with Sean Hyland. Great move out of the gate. Oh, Sean Hyland's got his hands full at the top end. There's a look at Andy Reichert, Bill's son, as the Bars Leaks machine goes into the semifinals. 581 to take out Sean Hyland's 586.
Not much to pick on the starting line, just a couple of hundredths apart. Reichert, though, is stretching it out there, and you'll see in the near lane as Hyland starts moving around. That's all Bill needed.
Look at the High Royal car. Looks like he's out there on a road course, and he just ran out of road.
581, that'll work.
That'll work. That'll do it for today. Bars Lake car running real good. We're real happy with that, a 581. It wheelied pretty hard on the starting line. We've been trying to tame it down up there a little bit, so we played with the gear ratios and stuff, and I think it worked. So we're ready for the next round.
This car's running so hard. With just a little luck, he's going to win this thing.
A little luck. That's all we need. Bars Lake car be in the final.
Wheelie. You don't hear that term in past tense very often. Here's the injected car, the former national record holder. This is Keith Stark, another big runner out of the Division III area, which is the central part, or the upper central part of the U.S., Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, that particular part. Randy Smith comes out of the Midwestern part of the country. He's from down there in North Kansas City, Mo. Very strong runner, a Uhara chassis machine, and a guy that's lucky to win his first ever national event.
Keith Stark is really the unknown quantity here, as are all the Nitro cars. If they're on, they're almost unbeatable, but they're so temperamental, you just never know.
Look at that. Randy Smith wheelied and gets the win. Actually, he buried him. Randy Smith, 594, 236 miles an hour. Keith Stark troubles at 6.03. And RJ goes into round number 3. There's the Winston champ, Tom Conway, who qualified 7th for this event. He will take on Jeff Hamelink, the North Star machine. We showed you earlier he qualified number 2. We also showed you that first round matchup, a devastating engine explosion, and Alan tells us a little bit about that between rounds thrash.
Back in the first round of competition, we saw a couple of the alcohol cars have problems with blowing head gaskets or torching the heads. Well, Jeff Hamelink has got his stuff apart so we can take a look. Now, this is the head gasket that they run in these typical alcohol cars. It's solid copper. And they can also change the thickness. If you need to change compression ratio a little bit, you either put in a thicker gasket or a thinner gasket and make the adjustment that way. When the gasket blows, the next thing that happens is it torches the block. You can see where the aluminum's been burned away from the fire actually escaping from the blown gasket. Now, Jeff's problems didn't end there. The motor went to 10.5, dropped an exhaust valve. Look at that damage on the cylinder head. All these pieces are going to have to go back to the North Star Machine Company before they can be run again, but Jeff Hamlink's got a brand new motor in the car, and he's ready for Tom Conway.
Tom Conway, your two-time Winston champ. Won it in '89, won it again in 1994. He runs a Dave Uhara chassis, runs out of Seminole, Oklahoma. Has not been his usual devastating self right here. He did run a 580 in the opening round, but only qualified in the number 7 slot and has not really flashed vintage Conway muscle. Oh, and look at that, a red light start for the Winston champ. And I can't remember the last time that I saw Tom Conway foul out. Jeff Hamlink just strolling down the boulevard. 6:54. He goes into the semifinals courtesy of a gift. And the gift underneath that Christmas tree, the red light from Tom Conway. When they look back at the points at the end of the 1995 season, that race might loom big for Conway. Reichert and Hamlink, one pair in the Final Four. Jay Payne and Randy Smith, the other. Alan?
Very unusual for Tom Conway to make a mistake like that on the starting line. What happened up there, Tom?
Beats hell out of me.
Did you get distracted or any problems? Or?
No, how red was it?
386.
No, I saw the yellow. I must have been in a little deeper than I thought. And I saw the yellow. Next thing I know, I see red with it, so.
How about that? Boy, you can see the consternation written all over his face.
Being a fan is tough when your team isn't the home team, especially when I try to find coverage of my favorite team in the local paper. I'm lucky there's even a box score. Well, if you're like me, you'll be happy to know there's one publication that'll make you feel right at home. The Sporting News. You'll love the Sporting News no matter what team you love, even if it is the home team.
Call this number now and get 4 issues of the Sporting News free. You'll get opinions and strategies, transactions, trade rumors, injury reports, and the lowdown on the minors. Plus football, basketball, and hockey all year long. Call now and you'll get 4 free issues. If you like them, you'll get 24 more issues at this great TV price. If not, just mark the bill, cancel, and owe nothing. The 4 issues are yours to keep.
So call now for the Sporting News, the publication that treats every team like the home team.
Call now and get 4 great issues of the Sporting News free.
Call now, 1-800-522-5333.
16 countries. 1 month of competition. Every 4 years. National pride is on the line as rugby's global clans take to the pitch in South.
Welcome back to the Autolite Sportsman Challenge from Brainerd, Minnesota, and we're ready to take a look at earlier round action in the funny cars. Bob?
At the beginning of the show, I told you there's really only one serious contender for the Alcohol Funny Car Championship here at the Champion Auto Stores Nationals, and that's Joe Penland. Well, Joe's kind of breezed his way through the first 2 rounds. He qualified number 1, soloed in the opening round, had the bye run in the second. Well, as he goes into the semifinals, he's going to have to take on Pat Austin, the guy that for the last 10 years, basically, has been the dominant car and driver in the class. So Joe Penland, who would love to win the Winston Championship this year, has got to go out and win it on the racetrack. Hey, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and that's the challenge that faces Joe Penland in the semifinals.
Here's how they stacked up for round 1. Only 14 cars qualified in the funny car field, just as in the dragsters. David Sathry a no-show for round number 1, so Joe Penland skates into the semis. It was Bucky Austin against Pat Austin. That's uncle on the far side, nephew on the near side, kind of the Austin's own version of the family feud, if you will. These guys have matched up a lot of times. This time, it was Pat taking out his uncle.
Pat, tell me about racing Bucky. Do you think about that, or is he just another opponent over there?
I try not to, but the guy's so tough that you have to, you know, and I realize that he's my uncle, and when he races me and I race him, we even give it more than what we do in the normal people. And Bucky does a heck of a job. I got to thank Red Ring Shoes, the local, you know, the hometown here for him, and Tracker Boats and Castrol and Dynamax. We're going in the semifinals. See if we can do better than we did in Seattle.
Sounds like he jogged up from Red Wing, Minnesota. This was the other side of the ladder. Anderson, Farnsworth, Smits, and Franz. Not David. Chesterman and Baki and Motes and Powell. The winners, Anderson, Smith, Chesterman, and Moats, as they went into the semifinals. On the far side, that's the Winston champ, Randy Anderson, and the unheralded Stan Smith in the near lane. Smith's got a little bit of problems, not the least of which was the Winston champion.
Randy, you and I both know that 6:15 is not going to be enough to win this. How are you going to get the car going down the racetrack?
Well, you know, that's something we've been fighting here with the Western Auto Car for a couple months now. That's no secret. And, you know, that was probably the smoothest run I've made all weekend now. And, well, I'm probably a little enthused by that, to be quite honest. It was drivable. It didn't shake. Maybe we're going to go a little bit the other way now. And I think 6 flats will win this thing, though.
Remember, you heard it first from Randy Anderson. 6 flats will win this thing. Vern Moats in the near lane, side Chesterman, a couple of former finalists right here. This was earlier, and Vern Moats gets the win.
Low ET of the round, 598.
Great. We've been looking for that.
What did you change? What did you come up with to make the car run like that?
Massey decided the tune-up wasn't right. We worked on that last night and looked through some back records and decided that it just wasn't right, and we changed it and hoping it would work.
Well, maybe 6 flats won't win this race. Vern Moats, Randy Anderson, one part of that Final Four. It'll be the kid against the 4-time Winston champ, the other half of the semifinals. This is Steve Johnson out of the Star Racing stable and Slick 50 Pro Stock Motorcycles as we get set to take a look at the top qualifiers. Schultz and Myers, no surprise. Good qualifying spot for Steve. John Smith and A.G. Kawakami, his best qualifying shot of the year. In the first round, it would be David Schultz against Paul Ray, Nyberg, and Ward. A couple of Kawasaki's there hoping to advance. One did, Nyberg. One didn't, Ray. Smith and Kawakami would march into round 2.
On the other side of the ladder, Myers and Johnson on the same side, which is never where they want to be. Red lights were kind of the story back in round 1 as 4 of the matchups were decided right on the starting line. Myers, Phillips, Johnson, and Hector the Hammer advanced into this round number 2, and there is the Hammer, the Lucas Oil machine, getting ready for this second round matchup.
Here comes Steve Johnson.
You knew it was him from the helmet, didn't you?
Yep, it was a dead giveaway. The Slick 50 rider out of the Star Racing stable, still looking for that elusive first win of the season. The Hammer, Hector Arana. That's George Bryce, who owns the Star Racing stable. Arana is running one of those great coat motors. This is a pretty good drag race. It's a little better for Stevie. He's a 10th quicker on the track, 178 miles an hour, and that's his roommate, Larry Dixon, in the glasses of Top Fuel fame. The Castrol GTX NHRA Now action line is always available. Call 1-900-468-NHRA.
Woo, boy.
Heat of the day, 766.
I thought I'd get used to some of the horsepower, but this racing's so cool.
You're having fun, right?
George says, he whispers into the helmet, he goes, make sure you have some fun. And I go, I'm having fun. And he can't hear a word I'm saying, but I'm having a ball.
No doubt about that.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Smaller electrodes, more power. More electrodes, faster start.
Suddenly, everybody has a new spark plug idea promising instant higher performance. But one new plug's idea is higher performance that lasts. Introducing Autolite Double Platinum. Platinum on both sides of the gap for faster starts and more power every time. Platinum to platinum firing for guaranteed peak performance, long after other ideas have peaked out. Autolite Platinum and now Autolite Double Platinum. More precious metal for your precious metal.
Mother's California Gold, the finest cleaners, polishes, and finish restorers. Carnauba wax protects and shines. Easy to apply, looks great.
California Gold, there's no shine like Mother's.
Live, NASCAR, Winston Cup Racing on TNN, the Nashville Network. High stakes, ultra-high speeds, and the men who lay it all on the line. The extreme heat of a battle, where a mistake can cost you more than just the race. Yeah, nothing can rock 'em and roll 'em like live Winston Cup racing on TNN Motorsports. It doesn't get any closer. Watch the MBNA 500 Sunday, September 17th, 12 noon Eastern.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Prime's coverage of college football. We're ready for the kickoff, and here we go. We've got more college football games this fall than any other network on television. You got it? Good. And now, back to our game.
One man to beat! He could go!
Prime college football all this fall.
Whoa, Nelly!
Welcome back to Brainerd International Raceway, the Autolite Sportsman Challenge on Prime Network. That's John Smith. Interesting matchup of names. John Smith out of Ramsey, Minnesota, getting set to duke it out with Eiji Kawakami. That's the old Dave Schultz bike. Alan, his best qualifying shot in a while. Here's a guy that failed to qualify for the first 3 races of the year and now started to become a factor.
That bike won the Winston Championship last year with Schultz aboard. Eiji's just getting more comfortable.
Well, he's not quite comfortable. Fouls out on the line. And how about that John Smith for the 5th race in a row? Smith will go at least as far as the semifinals. 778, 163 miles an hour as John Smith, local boy, trying to make good, goes into the semis. Here's the Snap-on Tools machine. That's the Bell Additives bike. Michael Phillips against the other half of the Star Racing team. This is John Myers. Alan?
John, you have been unstoppable before the semifinals this year. Could you squeeze by this time?
Well, I tell you what, semifinals they've been coming. They haven't been coming real easy. And by the time we get to the semis, things are real tough because you usually got guys like John Myers left or Dave Schultz. And, that run, the bike didn't go into high gear, so there's definitely a lot left in this bike, and it felt a lot better in low gear. So hopefully with a good light and a good run, we can get by him.
The Bell Additives bike, Houston champion Michael Phillips rides with a gray coat bullet in the rails. Harry Lartigue owns it. On the other side, the other half of the Star Racing team, John Myers, former Winston champ. By the way, I was only teasing with Steve Johnson before the break, so I hope that the fans and my producers don't send me letters about that comment.
They will. This is the matchup we talked about at the opening of the show. If Phillips wants to make a move in the points, he has to beat Myers.
And he's not going to do it here. Look at John Myers go to the whip on the top end. The Star Racing gang loves it as he runs away with a 765. That puppy runs big speed, Alan, 177 and change.
John Myers was definitely ready. 4:12 on the reaction timer. First out of the box and just never looked back.
In the near lane, Michael Phillips had his hands full, skated towards the center of the track. That might have cost him the race, the round, and the win.
John, 765, nice lap, lane choice over your teammate. Tell me about the semi coming up.
I'll tell you what, that was a brand new lap for us. We had bad luck in the first round. Spun the tire really bad in the first round, shot towards the center line, kept it off the center line. Luckily, Pizza John red light, so I won that round. And like I said, brand new tune-up for this round, and got to hand it to my crew, George and Ken. They got it screwed on there right, but that was very, very soft, so we can lean on it next time.
He had to lean on it a bit in the first round just to keep it straight. Look at that, right out of the starting gate. Fortunately, John Mafaro had fouled out. Alan?
Michael, I know you wanted that one bad, but what are you going to do when he throws a 65 at you out there?
Well, we didn't touch the bike from the first run, and I just figured we could at least run about a 64 on that pass. But we tried. We'll get him where it hurts. We'll get him at the wax shop.
That reference to the wax shop as we look at the Nyberg Kawasaki heat the tire, the wax shop Pro Bike Dash coming up in Indianapolis, the richest race for pro stock motorcycles. Here is David Schultz. That's Greg Cope in the Sunoco outfit with his back to the camera. Dave riding a brand new motorcycle. There's our helmet cam. It's a great shot as he's looking to move in to the semifinals right here. Now, pay no attention to that graphic on the right. This is not a 1990 bike.
Here in Brainerd, Minnesota, we finally had the debut of Dave Schultz's long-awaited new motorcycle, and this thing is like nothing we've ever seen. To start with, the chassis is different. Dave Schultz and Dave Earl of Track Dynamics got together, designed this on a computer. It's longer, it's narrower, it's sleeker going through the wind. The bodywork is all GSXR 750. Most of the bikes have a little of this, a little of that. This chassis is modular. A couple of bolts, this pops off. A couple of Zeus fasteners, that pops off. You can see an extensive use of exotic materials, carbon fiber, tempered aluminum, even titanium in this machine. One other thing that you might notice, you see almost no wires, no air lines, nothing to get in the way. It's all tubed inside the chassis. Keeps it out of harm's way, doesn't get broken when they're working on the bike. This is a slick piece. He's got a qualified #1.
The ergonomics on that bike are unbelievable. It is smooth. Nyberg in the Kawasaki in the far lane, Schultz in the new bike, and there's that helmet cam. And it's a red light start for the Kawasaki. So this one's academic. It's a free ride for David Schultz, and all he does is put up low ET in the round, 762, 175 miles an hour. Oh, baby. Smith and Schultz in the semis, Myers and Johnson, the star bikes, mix it up on the other side of the ladder. There's Dave. Here's Alan.
It's amazing, David, how fast you can get a brand new bike straightened out. 762, low of the round.
Well, low of the round, we still feel like it'll go faster. You know, I know the track's hot and all that, but we think what we learned yesterday, we should be running a 59 again. So we're not going to be satisfied with that one.
Now, wait a minute. I've seen you run world record times, and you still think you can go faster.
Every time. We're never going to quit. That's what keeps me coming back out here, is I want to make the perfect pass someday.
If you slow down, the guys behind you are going to run right by.
And we want to make the perfect show. We'll try when we come back.
Shop Boss from Eureka. So versatile, it's a kitchen boss, garage boss, auto boss, lawn boss with anti-tip design. Shop Boss, only from Eureka.
Just a reminder, when you need them, we got them. Big A, America's Parts Pros.
Slick 50 protects the vital moving parts of your engine for up to 50,000 miles. Slick 50 starting your engine without it is a terrible thing to do.
Can your radio do this? Only one radio can give you stereo sound this big, yet is small enough to fit almost anywhere. The extraordinary new Wave radio from Bose. Press the remote control and hear sound from a radio like you've never heard before. Big, rich sound that fills the room. You hear music the way it was meant to be heard. Clear, full, incredibly lifelike. You've got to hear the Wave radio to believe it. And now you can, in your own home. Satisfaction guaranteed. Call us toll-free to learn how, and we'll deliver the Wave radio to your door. Experience big stereo sound from a radio. Call today for more information. It will make a difference in the way you listen to music. A big difference.
There's a good look at Joe Penland's race car. A sparkling automobile. Steve Boggs, the crew chief, on this automobile as he's going to take on the four-time Winston champion Pat Austin. Alan, can Joe Penland beat Pat Austin?
Absolutely. He's done it before. As you mentioned, Joe is trying to win the Winston Championship. Pat Austin is not going to win the Winston Championship, no matter what happens from here on out this year. And Pat and the Austin gang don't care. They want to win every time they go to the starting line. They never look at the big picture. It's one race at a time.
They are an awful lot like Dave Schultz, always looking for that perfect run. This is not going to be it. You saw the car waver at midstream, and it's Joe Penland gone into the finals. The Penland gang without Dad, by the way, who is not here, but they go 596, 239 miles an hour, and the kid is in the championship round. Here are some upcoming events. Dinwiddie, Virginia. Love saying that town. The Eagleplex out in British Columbia. Memphis in September. Houston in October. Great alcohol drag racing coming up at all those events. Las Vegas, not a bad place to be. And we'll see you at Firebird Raceway in October.
Joe, I noticed you changed lanes up there before you ran. What makes the determination as far as which lane? What'd you see?
Well, really, it wasn't me. It was Steve. He's the one that calls the shots on that. All I do is just drive. Whatever he says, I go.
You've got it back in the 90s. Could be your first win since Memphis.
Yeah, it'd be good. We need it. We're struggling a little bit.
He's still leading the points.
I love that. Modesty. All I do is drive. Here's a guy that drives and does it rather well. The Western Auto Haviland team machine. Randy Anderson inside. That's Brad outside.
That's actually a guy who really drives. Not only the race car, but he also drives his tractor trailer from race to race to race.
Vern Moats, the Mopar machine. The Vern Moats, Bob Massey combination looking to go to the finals here at Brainerd. He won this race in '83 and '85, but has not been to a final since Indy of '94, and that's almost 1 full year. Moats out in front. Look at this. 3 car lengths, maybe more. Vern Moats goes to the finals at 6:08, 233 miles an hour. He had a reaction time of 5:34. Not awe-inspiring. 4:00 is perfect, but he had enough ponies to put away the champ.
Randy said in the last round that it didn't shake, it was smooth, they were going to have to lean on it. That didn't lean hard enough. It did move a little bit in the middle, but he wasn't going to catch Moats.
Nope. And this is the way they'll go in the final. The veteran, Vern Moats, and the kid, I just drive it, Joe Penland. Alan?
When you come to race in Division 5, you just have to deal with you, don't you, Vern?
Well, we like to think that way anyway.
6:08, but at least you're in the final.
Yeah, it shook pretty hard when we went into the second. Bob looked at the track before we ran. He said it was pretty balled up out there, and I think we got out of the groove a little bit and got into bad rubber.
But they'll take the round win.
Just so you don't get confused, that's Bob Massey, not Bob Fry he was talking about. This edition of National Dragster, I got some hints for you guys. You want to make that thing run faster? Put some wheels on it!
Well, after all, we are in Minnesota. You can't ride motorcycles up here in January.
No, and I never thought we'd see him running snowmobiles in August either. Here comes the North Star machine, Jeff Hamelink. There's Andy Riker directing his dad back. They do those burnouts to put a lot of rubber on the track, heat the tires up. The game plan then is to back right back into those tire paths. Andy's checking in right now. Besides hitting his dad, what was he looking at there, Alan?
Checking the engine temperature, checking the idle RPM, make sure that everything is right on the car. Reichert really has had the strongest car all day. Jeff Hamelink has had a little luck, both in the first round and the second round. He's got his fingers crossed, hoping it'll continue up in his home state.
It won't. Look at this. The Barsleeks machine unrelenting. Wow. 579. 241 miles an hour. Besides the fact that Hamelink was a little sluggish out of the box, Bill Reichert just put down an awesome number. That's a pretty impressive time.
That's a very impressive time in the heat of the day, and Jeff Hamelink was more than a little sluggish, a 10th late on the starting line.
In just a moment, we'll decide the other semifinalists. Alan?
Bill headed into another final round and looking pretty good at 579.
Whoa, 579. That's great. That's great. It shook a little bit out there, and I thought I might have to even pedal it, but it stayed with it, or I stayed with it, and it come out okay. I don't know what to say. The Barsleeks car's running good.
What do you do for the final? You going to leave it alone, or are you going to go back and change it some more?
We're going to have to monkey with it a little bit. They kind of cut us a little short on time going into this one, and we'd wanted to change some things that we weren't able to change. Now we can change them for the finals. Maybe we'll be able to step it up in the finals.
You could always go talk to Bob.
Bob Massey or Bob Fry?
There's R.J. Smith, and here is J.A.Y. Payne. That's Mike Robeck, the crew chief on the race car. Jay getting himself psyched up inside. Very, very big rounds for Jay Payne.
Jay needs this. If he can win this race, then he can have a perfect points claim, which is 5 national wins and 5 divisional wins. But this is important to him. And R.J. Smith, by the way, is Jay Payne's race car from last year.
Randy Smith can really get with the program. This one should be fun. Watch the front ends when the light goes green.
Or red.
How about that? Another red light start. And there's Mike. He likes what he sees. And he ought to. 587. It's not that 570 that Riker threw down, but Jay Payne in the championship round. Lane choice, if indeed it's a factor, goes to Bill Reichert in the championship round. Let's take a look at this again. On the near side, Randy Smith, figuring he was down a little bit on power, left early, gets the red light. He is out of here.
Jay Payne laughingly calls his car the Thunder Slug. 87's not exactly a slug, but if you don't step it up, Jay, you're not going to win this deal.
It's a slug next to his 79. We've got to do some major work on it. I don't know what exactly, but it's got to pick up a 10th. He's running low 80s and high 70s like there.
You qualified number 1. What have you changed since qualifying?
The track was cold and it was a lot better. You could put power to it and get away with it. I don't know how he's doing it. If we put the power in ours that he's got in his, it'd smoke the tires. I don't know what's wrong.
Should be some fun. That final at Top Alcohol Dragster. Stick around.
When it comes to the music of the 90s, anything goes.
Music today is everywhere. No need to label it. If it's good, we'll play it.
That's why we got Living in the 90s. 2.5 hours of the coolest songs on 2 CDs and 2 cassettes.
Check it out.
You can't touch this.
There's only one thing left to say about living in the 90s.
You're unbelievable.
To order, call the number on your screen or send check or money order. 2 CDs, $26.99. 2 cassettes, $21.99. Rush delivery available. Living in the 90s is not sold in stores.
It's the variety hour of power. See who's running hot and who's not running. Gear up and lap the racing field with us on Motorsports Hour by Chevrolet. Thursday nights on this regional sports network.
Here we go. Semifinals in Pro Stock Scooter, and it's the All-Star Racing Semis. There is the very determined, quiet John Myers on the Snap-on Tools bike out of George Bryce's shop in Americus, Georgia. He will contend with a guy that is none of the above.
Well, Steve is definitely not quiet, I'll give you that. He is enthusiastic. The Slick 50 rider in his first year with the Star Racing team has been to a final round, does not have a great record against his teammate Myers, but Myers, with the experience and the confidence, I think has overcome some of Steve's enthusiasm.
The interesting thing to note here is that John Myers had a very bad first round. We saw that. Steve Johnson was within 100th of a second of Myers' performance in the last round. The key here could be the starting line, Alan, and we've seen a lot of red lights.
Now come on, Bob, that's going to be an omen or something. Should be a great race. Both bikes prepared in the same shop, the same guys. I think the starting line may decide it, but who gets there first, not who red lights. See?
John Myers by a bike length at the top end of the racetrack. He runs 7:63, 174. He had a 4:19 reaction time. That's 300ths of a second quicker than his Star Racing teammate. Then he was 800ths quicker on the racetrack. That adds up to hammer time. And another final round appearance for the guy that would be the Winston champ in 1995, or at least he hopes to be. Alan?
Well, I'd be guessing right now John Myers is thinking to himself, come on, John Smith.
Yeah, that'd be real good for the points, you know. Right now we're just kind of battling for lane choice for the final round. I hope I ran good.
63.
63, that's good. That's good. We weren't real aggressive on it. We're sneaking up on it. It felt like it bogged a little bit, so we can get a little more aggressive in the final.
Going to have to, because I'm not sure 63 will win this thing, Alan.
I don't think so either. Dave, on that Sunoco bike, you heard him say he was running in the 50s, and that was back in qualifying. He does have low ET of the meet at a 56 on that new bike. They're still working out the details. Now, this is a tried performer. That's John Nord, the bike owner, pushing John Smith back from Anoka Ramsey Sports Shop. They built some of those snowmobiles like that one. Did they start that while you were on it?
Nope.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
The Torco MPZ machine, look at that. That's Greg Cope, the engine builder, from that onboard camera. Wisely gets out of the way. Meredith Schultz, Dave's wife, with a pat on the back. I love this new motorcycle.
I can get you right on it.
Gee, I'd love to, but think I've got to have root canal work that day.
I didn't tell you what day.
Oh my, a red light start for David Schultz. Schultz in the new bike out of here in the semifinals despite the numbers. And look at that, Kurt Johnson, a fellow Minnesotite, another guy from Minnesota, John Smith, pretty happy, 7.70. Certainly not awe-inspiring numbers. 173. Alan, can you see what happened?
399 was the number. 400 would have been a green light. That means 1,000th of a second. I think Dave did everything right. Didn't want to give anything away on the starting line. Just got too tight.
How about that? John Smith, his first final of the year against John Myers. I don't know who's happier, Smith or the Star guys.
John, I think if you could pick the place to finally get into a final round this year, this would be it. Home in front of all your friends.
Yeah, I'd have to say this would be the track that I'd want to make it to the final, and there's absolutely no doubt about that, you know.
Lost lane choice against Myers in the final. Is that a big deal out here?
It kind of is, you know. It's nice to have your choice of lanes, you know, but that run was a little bit sloppy. We kind of tried a little bit, you know, figured that it's either going to work good and we'll get around Dave, or we'll get lucky and get around Dave, or it's not going to work. So, you know, we know what not to do for the next round, and hopefully we can get down that lane without a problem.
I'm sure the crowd's going to be backing John.
Let's take a look at that semifinal match from the onboard camera on the helmet of David Schultz. Now watch the Christmas tree. You'll see those yellow lights. You see the red at the bottom, and Dave is gone.
I've heard you say before you really have to watch out for John Smith, and 399 is so close.
Well, I wanted a 420 something. You know, I know he's good on the lights. I thought I left when I've been leaving. You know, it's just maybe the adrenaline was up a little bit more. I don't know what happened. I was as shocked as anybody when I looked down. I didn't even see the red when I went by the tree, but I saw it down the track. I saw it on the finish line scoreboards and saw his wind light come on.
All things considered, you can't be too upset about the debut of the new bike. I mean, it really came around in a hurry.
I'm not upset with the debut of the new bike, you know, with the motor, with anything. I'm not upset with anything except for Dave Schultz right now.
Boy, the consummate professional, and you can see he is not happy with the way that his day came to an end here at Brainerd, Minnesota. Unbelievable. Great weekend now can continue for the fans because we have all finals coming up on the Autolite Sportsman Challenge. We'll be back to Brainerd International Raceway. There's a look at the Bars Leagues machine. Bill, Andy, and all the Reicherts getting set.
If you know you need a new roof, you may as well buy it right. So call right now through Sunday during Sears Install Double Bonus Days. Let a Sears authorized installer show you a huge selection. Choose your favorite and you'll save $300 on Sears 30-year shingles, professionally installed for beauty and durability. Then get the added bonus of a $200 instant rebate on any roofing you choose. We'll deduct the rebate instantly. Call this 800 number for a free written estimate by a Sears authorized professional. We're the largest installer of residential roofing in America, and we guarantee your satisfaction. We'll do all the prep work and leave you with a beautiful, durable new roof. Plus, take advantage of the 10% discount on rain gutters, also in effect. Ask about deferred payment. So call now and take advantage of savings and a $200 instant rebate through Sunday during the Sears Installed Double Bonus Days. For installed roofing, gutters, doors, and fencing, call this 800 number right now. Improving your life by improving your home.
Welcome back to Brainerd International Raceway, the Champion Auto Stores Nationals. I'm Alan Reinhardt along with Bob Fry. And how about our first final, the alcohol funny cars, as Vern Motes warms the tires on his Dodge Avenger. And Joe Penland does the same on his Oldsachiever. Before we get to this, it's time for a special feature on the Autolite Sportsman Challenge. He's been over 300 miles an hour, under 5 seconds, on fire, upside down, won big, and lost hard.
What a ride!
And he's always willing to talk about it. Here's Winston Funny Car champ John Forrest with Bob Fry and a little Force sense.
A sportsman racer could come to an NHRA Winston Championship event and be one of 6 or 700 racers. He could go against a guy that he's never even seen before, let alone raced against. John, in the funny car category, you come up against the same guys almost week in and week out. You guys kind of choreograph how you're going to do things up there in the starting line. A burnout with Boulder is a lot different than a burnout with Spurlock.
Well, without a doubt, and you really have to watch KC's deal now because he's into the show deal and the burnouts to the lights. and it'll get you in trouble. I stopped on the track and parked at half track, and I was trying to time myself. I was probably out there 30 seconds, and that's critical in the clutch department. But he came back. He's a good guy, and he don't try to get you in trouble. But they are all different, so you have to watch him.
You guys coordinate that? Will your crew chief talk with their crew chief?
Well, no, you can't, because it's really name of the game. If you let a guy think that if he could set on you long enough, he could hurt you, well, then he might do that trying to win around on you. You know, the championship's really critical, so you have to watch him. Most of the guys play real clean ball, and some get confused out there, so it looks like they're trying to do something, but they're really not. They're all really pretty fair, and I play the game fair myself.
And what they're all trying to do is take the championship away from this guy. Spurlock may be #1 in the burnout battle this year, but in the points, #1, still the big guy.
The big guy, Bob?
Well, when you know him as well as I do, we call him big for short sometimes.
I didn't know that.
Poor guy.
Here's Joe Penland, who wants to be called Winston Champ by the time it's all said and done this year. But it has been a while since Joe's been in the winner's circle. And one of the real problems he's had is his driving has been off a little bit. His consistency's gone.
Yep, had a great start to the 1995 season, and if he wants to take advantage of the absence of the Newberries and Manzos, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, he's got to take out Vern Moats right here in the final. Good move, Penland. Joe Penland, oh, Vern Moats just about got him. But look at that, a couple of high fives, a few low fives, a couple of missed fives, and a 6.05. And Joe Penland gets the win and continues his march toward a possible Winston title.
Penland was first off the starting line by a couple of hundredths. Joe's scoreboard said 6.05. Vern's scoreboard said 6.05. So the difference at the starting line was the difference at the finish line, Bob.
Watch this, just a couple of thou on the clock, and Joe Penland wins it by a nose.
Boy, have I got some good news for Joe Penland. Not only does the win help you out in the championship chase, but I know you've been beating on yourself 05 to an 05, and you won with your driving.
All right, it's about time, Hubbin. I've been letting the crew down the last 3 races. It just feels good, that's all I can say.
Unbelievable day. This car, from the time it rolled out of the box, was the car to beat.
Well, Steve's got the car running real consistent. The guys are working real hard. Everything seems to be clicking this race.
What a time to tune up. Just in time for Indy.
Just in time. Feels great.
All right. We like to see happy winners here on the Autolite Sportsman Challenge. We're going to see another one right here. Will it be the Bars Leagues machine of Bill Reichert, or will it be Jay Payne? Jay still trying to lock up that Winston title. Reichert has never won a national championship event. This is not going to be an easy final, but Reichert's run well this year, Alan. Twice he's been #1 qualifier in races so far this year. It's a good race car.
You may remember that Jay Payne, after the semifinal, said, we don't know how he's doing it. If we try to put that power in our car, it'll smoke the tires. Well, between rounds, I know Jay and Mike were changing everything on the car. They figure they have to run a 70 to beat Reichert here, and they're going to try.
Jay Payne, 4 wins, 4 low ETs, 4 top speeds so far in his national events this year. Little smoke off the tires from Jay. Look at this, a first-time winner here on the Autolite Sportsman Challenge. Congratulations, Andy. Congratulations, Bill. Another big run. 5.80 beats Jay Payne's 5.84. Alan, the difference might have been this little wisp of smoke.
Definitely nothing to pick on the starting line, and Jay put some extra power into it, smoked the tires a little bit. That slowed it down. He wasn't going to catch Reichert at that point.
The guy that's been racing since the 1960s wins his first ever right here at Brainerd.
Bill, your first ever national event win and beating Jay Payne. Talk about a tough way to do it.
I love it. The car just run great. It shook a little bit. It scared me. I thought it was going to have to pedal it or something. It was in a big wheelie and stuff, but everything just worked out good. It felt like it really went fast. And
580?
580, yeah, that's a good run. That's a good run. The Bars League car finally got into the final, finally won one.
There may be no stopping this guy now.
Well, I hope not. I hope not. It sure feels good to win.
I told you we like happy winners, and we have lots of them. We have one more to decide, so stick around.
Smaller electrodes, more power. More electrodes, faster start.
Suddenly, everybody has a new spark plug idea promising instant higher performance. But one new plug's idea is higher performance that lasts. Introducing Autolite Double Platinum. Platinum on both sides of the gap for faster starts and more power every time. Platinum to platinum firing for guaranteed peak performance, long after other ideas have peaked out. Autolite Platinum and now Autolite Double Platinum. More precious metal for your precious metal.
Everyone knows Red Wing makes legendary work shoes. Now they make them for women, too. Red Wing asked us what we want, and we told them comfort and style. Red Wing delivers with many styles and colors. Lots of sizes, too, so you get a perfect fit. Now you have a choice. Many choices. Red Wing Shoes. Best friends your feet ever had. Call 1-800-359-BOOT for the dealer nearest you.
Live, NASCAR, Winston Cup Racing on TNN, the Nashville Network. High stakes, ultra high speeds, and the men who lay it all on the line. The extreme heat of a battle, where a mistake can cost you more than just the race. Yeah, nothing can rock 'em and roll 'em like live Winston Cup Racing on TNN Motorsports. It doesn't get any closer.
Watch the MDNA 500 Sunday, September 17th, 12 noon Eastern.
We are back at Brainerd International Raceway, the Autolite Sportsman Challenge. There's John Myers, the Southerner from Americus, Georgia, locked up in the final round with the hometown favorite, John Smith. Before we fire those bikes, let's take a look at all the other sportsman action here at the Champion Auto Stores Nationals.
Drag racing is an equal opportunity sport. That's Ms. Marianne Method over there on the far side, and David Young in his Chrysler car in the near lane. Marianne won this race in '94. She doubles up here in 1995. In Super Stock, it's Jerry Ryan in a borrowed race car. Didn't even want to come here to the race. Glad that he did. It's his first national event win after 28 years of trying. The square dance people were also in town. There's an Alamon left and a do-si-do. Jack Madden out of Embarrass, Minnesota, 59 years old, gets his first win. And then watch this, the former Winston champion. Here comes Edmund for his 21st national event win in Super Comp, his 4th of the 1995 campaign. And another first-time winner would reach the winner's circle in Comp Eliminator in the near lane. Alan Wilson, the Econo-Alder, would run down John Freck. Congratulations, Alan.
What a great day, and I tell you, a tough opponent in the final.
Yes, he is. Anybody from Division III is usually tough, and Freck, he's a Division III champ last year, and he'll probably be this year, and I think he's way up there in world points. He's tough, and when you go up against somebody like him, you know you got to have it together.
Here is John Smith, who hopes to have it together. So does John Myers. The final race here on the Autolite Sportsman Challenge. Myers would love to get the win. Could vault him into the points lead. Smith, on the other hand, would love to win it for the home crowd.
Well, the crowd is definitely behind John Smith. The crowd at his trailer between rounds was incredible. All of the well-wishers coming by to wish him luck and pat him on the back. I don't know how much that helps, but it certainly can't hurt.
No, it cannot. John Nord will back away from the bike. Dave Harlander, the other guy that's involved. Gorko MPZ sponsoring the Anoka Ramsey shop just down the road a little bit. John Myers, two-time Winston champ, Snap-on Tools, Star Racing. This one ought to be fun. Yo, look at John Smith. Looked like he moved first on the starting line. John Smith, no. Myers got him at the stripe. John Myers. And there's a crowd that really is going wild. George Bryce and Jackie Bryce at 7:63 for Myers. Big speed, 174 miles an hour. He needed it. John Smith got him out of the box.
On the far side of the racetrack, you can see John Smith moved first, and now he tucks down behind the windshield, fingers crossed, and watches Myers just cruise to victory.
How about that? It was a side-by-sider at about half track. Watch this at the quarter-mile mark. Here comes the big top-end speed. A couple of miles an hour makes the difference. And John Myers goes into the points lead, first time in about 2 years that anybody other than David has led the points.
Points leader, John Myers. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. That's really good news. I tell you what, Star Racing team has really done it this time. They've got me running consistent enough, you know, to win here. And, you know, we ran a 62 that round. What did we run this time?
63.
Well, okay. I said it felt about the same.
Now, I know it's been over 2 years since Schultz has been out of the points lead. When's the last time somebody won 3 in a row besides David?
I guess it was me back when we won the last championship we won. But, you know, I got to say something about John Smith and the Anoka Ramsey team. They had a really good victory here. This is their home track. They beat Schultz in the semis. Anytime you beat Dave Schultz, that's an accomplishment.
If John hadn't beat Dave Schultz, John Myers wouldn't be the points leader.
Red Wing Shoes is proud to present this week's driver of the race to the driver of the Bars Leagues car, Bill Reichert, who picked up his first championship win. Coming out of the number 6 qualifying spot, he was the class of the field all day long, including when he took out Jay Payne in the final. Congratulations to Bill Reichert, the Red Wing Shoes driver of the race.
The Autolite Sportsman Challenge is brought to you by Allied Signals Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. Promotional consideration and a fee paid for by this special offer from Diamond P Sports.
What could follow the 3 volumes of Diamond P's and They Walked Away series? A 4th, and They Walked Away 4, like its predecessors, captures the most perilous moments in recent motorsports history. Unmerciful tumbles, unbelievable flips, falls, and fires, and in every harrowing incident, the driver beats the odds. Once again, man and machine test their mettle through mayhem in over a dozen motorsports disciplines. You can't find this video in stores. You can't rent it. And anyone who has it won't let you beg, borrow, or steal it. Then how do you get your own copy of And They Walked Away 4? Call 1-800-441-4343 or send $24.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. 1-800-441-4343 or charge it on your Visa, MasterCard, or Discover card.
The Autolite Sportsman Challenge on Prime Network is a presentation of Diamond P Sports.